Well, I'm sure if you're like me, you seem to get a lot of these plastic bottles. And as much as we try not to, they still seem to be accumulating. So what I'm going to do is show you some really simple projects that give some great upcycles. So this one I've been doing for absolute years and years. And the great thing about this one is it lasts a long time and you can keep using it over and over again. So what I'm going to do first is draw myself a fairly straight line going across there, and then I'm going to try and match that one as much as I can from this side. Yep, that'll do me lovely. And the next thing I'm going to do is cut this bottle in half all the way along. And this is just a squash bottle, and I find it's easier to do this if you've got the lid on, but you do it whichever way you find it's easiest to do, and then just point your blade away from you. I'm not going to get it very straight, so it doesn't matter for what we're going to do. So now I've got those cut in half, I want to make something so it allows them to sit without rolling over, because obviously it's a half a bottle. Again, this is a stage that if you want to do, you can do, and if you don't have to. All I've got is some packaging foam here, and I'm going to cut round it like that. And I always keep this packaging foam because I don't believe it's recyclable, but I use it in so many different things, and it cuts really simply. So easy. Look how lovely and neat that is. And now that can sit in there like that. And I can glue those on if I want to, but I don't need to. It will sit really well in there. Look at those, they fit in there too, but we're not using those. We're not making a canoe. Now all I need to do is make some holes on the top of this to let some air in. And the easiest way I know to make some little holes is by using a nail. Now you can heat this nail up and just push it through if you want, but I'm not bothering with that. I'm just going to put some along here like that. Okay, so that's going to let some air in as well. Now you can sit this directly on top of this like that, and it will move around a little bit, not too much, but there is a way that you can stop that happening. So what I'm going to do here is I've got another bit of a bottle that I've used for something else, and I've cut some of these strips out, and I'm going to cut them out. All I need is 4 of those, roughly about the same sort of size. So I've got 4 there, like that. And then using some all-purpose glue, I'm going to put a little bit on this side, here, on the inside, and then a bit on the outside of this one. Let that dry for about 4 or 5 minutes before I close them up together. And then once that's been drying for a little while, all you need to do is line up your edges, and they'll line up really well and have about ½ centimetre poking out the top, like that. And then let those fully dry for about 5 minutes. You see, they're only just poking over the edge there. Just about that much. Okay, so now that's stuck on there, what that does is it gives you some little bits to put that on, and then they're not going to move and jiggle around. But like I said, if you don't want to do those bits, you don't have to. And now we can use it for what its intended purpose is. Get yourself some kitchen paper like this, and you want about, I've got 6 sheets here, and I've folded that up like that, and now I'm going to pop it in there, and it should fit in quite well, like that. And the next thing we want to do is give it a really good spray down so it's lovely and wet. Now the excess water will go into these little grooves, but also it will stay there, which will allow your paper to stay nice and wet. Yeah, that's lovely and wet now. Well, it's lovely and damp, it's not over wet. And this is the magic. What I've got here is some common cress seeds, and all I'm going to be doing is sprinkling these seeds over this base like that, dampening them down a little bit themselves, popping that lid on like that, and putting that somewhere there's some light, like a windowsill or anything, twisting that top on. And that's why I said keep that top, because it will keep it all nice and together. You've got a little stand, and we leave that for 5 or 6 days, I think, or until you've got enough sprouts to use in your salads and things. And it works so well. I'll show you in a few days' time when they're all lovely and sprouted. So this next one is really easy, and you need 2 bottles the same for this. All I'm going to be doing is cutting off the tops here. So I've got the top still attached to it, and then I'm going to use my knife and cut them down in exactly the same place, or as near to exactly the same place as I can, going all the way around really neatly. So now we've got those cut in half, I've quickly taken the tops off, and what I'm going to do is knock some holes in this. And again, you can do this with a nail, or you can do this with something that's hot. You could heat this up under a flame, but I don't want to burn myself because that's likely to happen. Now, as neatly as possible, what you want to do is glue these together. Now, I'm not very good at gluing neatly, but I'm sure you are. I'm using a hot glue gun here like this, and this is my cordless hot glue gun. It gets very, very hot very quickly, and it's great for gluing things together like this. Okay, I'm going to hold those together till that bit's dry, almost like tack drying it. So then I can turn it round easily without it coming apart. And now that's dry, what I can go do is go around this and pick off any of the little real lumpy bits. But that is quite well attached now. And I don't want that to look like that. So all I'm going to use is some washi tape to cover that up. Going all the way around. Now, if you don't like this, you can paint the cut ends. You can paint the actual tops. You can do whatever you like with it, really. I think that looks a bit nicer than leaving the glue there, like that. Washi tape has so many great uses. So now that's nearly finished, all we need to do is open it up. Now you can fill this with real lavender, you can fill this with lots of different things, but I haven't got anything like that. So all I'm going to be doing is filling this with cotton wool balls and then using some lavender fragrance and putting that on my cotton wool balls. There we are. So we've got all them in there. All we need to do now is pop those cotton balls. I've got this lovely fragrance in them in there. Pop your top back on, and then you can put that in your drawers and make your clothes smell nice. Or you can hang it up in your wardrobe or hang it up somewhere, and it's easy to hang up. All you need to do is get your glue gun again, and I've made myself a little loop using this coloured twine, and I'm going to glue that onto the edge of this here like that. And then to finish it off a little bit, I'm also going to glue a bow on there, and then you can hang that up in your wardrobe or anywhere that you want to hang it, and that smell will just fill the room and make your room smell lovely. They're great in the bathroom, they're great in drawers, and they're great in your wardrobe. Simple and easy to make as well. This next one is a great one, and it saves me a lot of time having to keep getting new blades or sharpening my pencils. I don't know if you, like me, you keep your pencils in tins or things like that, and you keep putting them in, and in the end, they knock the ends off your pencils or make your blades blunt or chip the ends of your blade. So again, with this same packaging, all you need to do is put your bottle on there like that, and then cut round the base of your bottle, and then cut out a bit of this packaging. Now, this packaging comes in different colours. It's sometimes white, it's sometimes black. I have seen it in blue colour, and I have seen it in a grey colour. So there we go. That's that cut there. And we need to decide how deep we want our pot. Now, I want my pot to be about that deep there, because I don't want my pencils to keep falling out or falling over. So all I need to do now is go around this bottle and cut in that groove all the way around until you come together like that. Now, that edge isn't going to be sharp because this is plastic after all, but I am going to trim it up so it is level all the way around, or as level as I can make it going all the way around. So all you need to do now is push your foam down into there, cut it the right size. You can push that right the way down and it will stay in by itself, because it's probably slightly larger than what you've got the bottles. And then that's in there nicely like that. Now, you can spray it and they look really nice sprayed, but now when you put your pencils in there or your blade, it's going to stick into that foam and you can see them, and also it's not going to break your tips, which is great. It makes such a big difference. Now I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to give it a quick spray to show you what it looks like sprayed. So I've quickly sprayed that black, didn't take many seconds, and now I can keep my pencils in there, my knives in there, all without having to worry about breaking off the tips or blunting my pencils. It works really, really well. Now for this next one, what you need is a more sturdy plastic bottle, and all I'm going to do is mark it there, okay, and bring a mark all the way around to there. And now I don't cut these very even often. So if you don't, then don't worry about it because it will still work. And now what I need to do is cut this bit out here. Don't need that any longer. All I'm going to do is I'm going to do this in a couple of cuts, probably not all in one go. Be careful with your hands as well. You don't want to be cutting yourself doing this. And then once you've cut all the way through like that, all I do is take a pair of scissors and take off that tip there and then even up any of my sides. And then you can get rid of this by using just a tiny bit of alcohol on a cloth. That'll get rid of all those marks. And you want to make sure it's completely dry. This is still a little bit damp inside where I've washed it out. Don't be tempted to glue your lid on. And you can do this with the plastic milk cartons and all sorts of different things. And I'll show you what I'm going to use that for. So if you're like me and you use a lot of sand or you use a lot of resincrete or you use a lot of powder, this is ideal for that because you can move your sand really easily, get it down to the bottom bit like that, and then you can pour it in and move it around without making too much mess. And that's why I like to leave that bit quite deep there. And it just makes a brilliant scoop. And they last for ages. And a lot less mess than trying to pour it out. And this last one, you've already made, to be perfectly honest, because this is the base of that scoop. And what I find these really useful for is if I'm using a sponge or anything while I'm painting, I can, rather than just putting it down somewhere and making a mess because there's still paint on it, I just pop it in there like that and it will keep it in there. And any drips that will just drip into this base. It doesn't normally drip. The other thing is, once you've washed this sponge out and washed this little bit of plastic up, you can just pop it in there and allow the air to circulate around your sponge and dry off. So it's a really simple one. And I use this for different types of sponge. I use it for natural sponge. I'll stick my natural sponge in there and let that dry. Or I'll stick these little round ones in as well. Honestly, I cannot tell you how much it saves you mess. And you can just hold it in your hand like this and put your sponge in it and then pop it to the side where you're working. And here's a bonus one for you. This is a different type of bottle. This is a sauce bottle. And what I use these for is to add my paint to. Because if not, what happens is when it's kept in this tin, it just gets thicker and thicker. Now this is a clear bottle, so if you leave this out in the light all the time, what you may do is get some change in the actual colour. I keep all mine inside a box with all my different colours and all my varnishes and everything. And I don't have any of that problem. If you have that problem and you don't want to store them in a box, just paint the outside of this or spray it black. And I've been using these like this for a long time, as you've probably seen me use them with my varnish and things. But I use so much gold paint now, I've started to buy it in tins like this because it's so much cheaper. Once that gets empty, I can just fill it up again. You've got a great way of keeping your paint in great condition, as well as having a way to easily distribute it and squeeze it out. And you don't keep getting that rust around the edge of the tin and having problems getting your lid off. So all I do now is pop my top on like that, and then I can squeeze that out whenever I need it. That will squeeze out really easily like that. Well, the cress has been growing for nearly 4 days now, and look how quickly it's grown. It's grown so well, and that is nearly ready. I think another day and I'll be able to eat that in a salad. But it's lovely and protected in there, and it keeps lovely and moist because you've got a top on it. Little micro greenhouse. I hope you've enjoyed all these projects. We made a scoop, a micro greenhouse, a little air freshener, a sponge holder, and a container that will save you breaking your points of your pencils. All from bottles that you'd probably chuck away. Hope you've enjoyed this. Boot the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check out the video I've got coming up next. There's another great upcycle using tin cans. But most of all, enjoy your crafting. Take care. Bye.